clock strikes 12, and the living room floor transforms. A brilliant shaft of sunlight cuts through the room, revealing a swarm of microscopic targets drifting erratically through the golden haze. Enter the family tabby. She might usually be found sleeping on a pile of fresh laundry, but right now her posture is rigid, her eyes are locked. She is tracking these tiny intruders with the cold, calculated focus of a professional mercenary. Watch her pause. Every subtle weight shift and muzzle twitch aligns her body for a highly synchronized biological strike. How does an animal that sleeps 16 hours a day on a memory foam bed retain the precise, lethal combat mechanics of a wild apex predator? A house cat chasing dust in a sunbeam is executing a series of lethal survival instincts, locking onto and neutralizing targets with ruthless efficiency. To understand the mechanics of this ambush, we have to look closely at her face just seconds before she leaps. This animated diagram illustrates her specialized sensory tracking network. Her highly sensitive whiskers detect minute shifts in air currents, while her expanding pupils gather maximum light to process rapid movement. This entire biological array was inherited directly from her ancient ancestor, the African wildcat. Notice how the system maps these specific vectors. In a barren, sun-scorched environment, a predator must be able to visually lock onto and follow the sudden, unpredictable movements of tiny prey, desperately trying to escape. When those tiny particles of dust drift and dart through the living room air currents, they simulate the flutter and flight patterns of those small desert birds and insects. She lowers her center of gravity. Her tail begins to twitch rhythmically, counterbalancing her weight. Millions of years of evolutionary trial and error are aligning her spine for the perfect ambush. For these few moments in the sunbeam, the soft rug disappears. She is back in the wild, navigating a highly accurate simulation of a harsh ancestral hunting ground. Then she launches. The stillness breaks with a sudden, violent release of kinetic energy pushing her off the floor. This wireframe highlights the energy release points of the feline skeleton. Notice the extreme compression in the hind legs and the flexibility of the spine. This structure is engineered to generate explosive upward force, even from a completely dead stop. Raw power requires guidance. As she lifts off, her neural pathways are instantly solving complex physics equations. Her brain calculates the exact speed, angle, and descent rate of the falling dust mote, so her claws can intersect it in midair. At the apex of her jump, the attack culminates in a rapid, highly specific flicking motion of her front paw. That flick is a targeted, specialized biological mechanism designed to swat a bird out of the air and immediately pin it to the earth. She lands gracefully, having just completed a lethal hunting sequence perfected over millions of years. To appreciate the mechanics of that jump, we have to look thousands of miles away from the living room, back to the harsh desert habitats of the African wildcat. In the desert, energy is fiercely protected. Predators operate on an extreme calorie economy. A missed jump means wasted energy, and too many wasted jumps means starvation. Every physical movement has to be perfectly calculated to ensure survival. Every time she attacks a shadow, she is running a mandatory biological diagnostic test on her internal predatory software, ensuring her systems are online, calibrated, and ready. The modern climate-controlled house serves as a safe, low-stakes training ground. It allows her to maintain and sharpen those vital survival skills without the life-or-death consequences of the desert. Knowing this, pet owners have a responsibility to provide environments that satisfy these deep-seated wild instincts. You can actively support this training by upcycling old clothes into dangling DIY toys. Dragging these fabrics in erratic, jerky patterns simulates the unpredictable movements of airborne prey, giving them a proper target to stalk. The clock ticks forward, the sunbeam shifts across the floor, and the dust motes fade into the shadows. The hunt is over. The apex predator stretches, yawns, and transitions back into a docile companion ready for her afternoon nap. These small-scale battles right on our rugs connect us directly to the wild history still thriving inside our domestic pets.